All right, everybody, welcome to today's virtual coffee session where we'll be talking about the Troy Graduate Career Roadmap featuring Ms. Donna Brown. And you are being recorded. I just started the recording, so please do not do anything you would not want your mama or your babies to see. I say that every week. Before we start, I would like to introduce one of my favorite partners in crime, and that's Dr. Robert Velarde, who's kind of a mastermind and my co-host in these series. Dr. Velarde, would you like to say hello?
Hello, everybody. Just welcome to yet another virtual coffee, and we're excited to see everybody here, and I'm excited to hear what we have for you guys today. So anyway, I don't have a lot to say today, so I'll turn it back over to you.
Sounds good. Thank you, Robert. Well, first I'm going to tell a little story and then I'm going to introduce our guest. I have to do a little build up, right? So my story is this. My name is Leora Waldner and I'm one of the teachers at Troy University. I'm located out in Atlanta and I've had the honor of being with Troy for 14 years or longer now. And one of the things that breaks my heart is when a student contacts me when they've just graduated and they said, Dr. Waldner, I have my degree now. I'm ready to start my job search. And this is what my face looks like. Because I want my advisees, and most of us want our advisees and students to start their job search and their job preparation much earlier. Perhaps if you're a graduate student in your second term in Troy Online, and then if you're an undergrad student, perhaps in your second year, because you'll have a little more time. So the Troy Career Services team, and we're going to meet one of them today, partnered with the graduate school, Dr. Marianne Templestone's team, as well as a number of faculty advisors to put together a kind of a game plan or a roadmap to help all of you get the best possible start in your careers. And you could even take some of the steps that we're going to show you today and work on them for about 3 hours a week and treat it almost like a mini class. And then by the time you graduate, you will be in very good shape. So first, I want to acknowledge one of the faculty that was very important and instrumental in the development of the graduate blueprint, and that's Dr. Yanjun Zhao. Would you like to say hello, Dr. Zhao?
Hello, this is Yanjun. I'm in the Troy campus. I'm very glad to working with project, and also I'm very glad to come into this virtual office. And nice to meet you, all the guys. Yeah.
Thank you so much for developing this amazing resource for the students, Yanjiang. We appreciate it, and I think they do too. And I would ask everybody to make sure that you're muting yourself during the session whenever you're not speaking. So to mute yourself, you'd wiggle your mouse, and it's the second button on that magic ribbon that pops out. So no more delays, no more anticipation. Let me go ahead and introduce the superstar today. And the superstar is Miss Donna Brown. Now, Donna has worked with Troy University for over 12 years and has been part of the Career Services team for over 6 years. Donna's role in Career Services is serving Troy's online population of students. So that's her specialty. And that includes both graduate and undergraduate students taking classes online and at all of the Troy support centers like Atlanta. I see some of our Atlanta crowd out there. Hey. All right. And Donna's contact information, in case you want to work with her or you want to ask her for help, is troyonlinecareer@troy.edu. And we'll push that out a bit later. So that was the bio that Donna provided me with. But I'm going to say this. I've had the pleasure of working with Donna for, I don't know, many, maybe at least a decade. She has personally made more difference in the careers and the success of my students than I could ever thank her for. So she's a magic worker, and Donna, I want to say thank you. Would you like to say hello, Donna, before we start plugging into the blueprint?
Yes, hello, and welcome everyone. I hope we give you some important information or some information that you can take away that will help you in your job search.
Very good. So without further ado, let's go ahead and go into the blueprint if my screen will cooperate. Here we go. So I'm going to share my screen and we'll also push out the blueprint for you. I'm sorry, I call it the blueprint, but it's actually technically called the Troy University Career Map, or we refer to it as the roadmap. Let me try sharing again. It's giving me problems today. All right, there's my screen. Are you all able to see the career roadmap?
Yes.
Okay, great. Let me get you back up. Perfect. So this is what we're going to look at today. And let me take this box down here and minimize it. Very good. So this is where we're going to go through the 12 steps. And if you work this plan, you will be ready by the time you graduate and you'll be in great shape to deploy your job search. But the thing is, you really need to work on it all along and don't start right at the last minute. Let's go over this step by step. And there is one very important player I forgot to give credit to, and that is the Troy University DTI Center. They're the folks that really put this together and made it look so good. So that's the Center for Design, Technology, and Industry. They do amazing graphic products. So if anybody ever needs a product like that, you know where to go. They are just superstars. Here is the 12-step career blueprint. And even if you're an undergrad, you can still use this. And we're going to go through it step by step. And you can see there's 12. So I will talk quickly. And I know Donna plans to too. Let's go to step 1. Is this big enough font, or do y'all want me to make this a little bigger?
I think it's big enough.
Perfect. Great. If anybody can't see, let me know. Isaiah?
Oh, I was just confirming that it's fine.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Isaiah. Okay, very well. So good. The first step is figuring out what kind of job you might want. Most of you probably would have guessed that before even coming into this session. Now, for the graduate students, you often know or have a sense of what career field you want. That's why you picked the degree in computer sciences or public administration. But you may not know exactly what type of career within that program or degree field. And so some of the action steps for this item is to describe your career goals and also maybe think through some of your minimum job requirements. But the resource that Career Services has to help you narrow down the scope of what jobs you want is on their career exploration page. So Donna, I'm going to stop sharing and let you open that up for a minute.
Okay. And I did not put that on my own, but we'll get there.
No problem. Actually, that's good, so they can see how to navigate through Career Services. So that's actually brilliant.
I may not have. I can still add control. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, here we go. That one we did not do. Sorry.
No, actually, this is really good because now you can see how to get Career Services. Donna's going to show you how from the my.troy.edu website.
Right. Once you're there, the easiest way, rather than having to memorize or learn or remember a URL, is just to go to Students on the menu, and then just ease over to Career Services, and then it will take you to the web page, to the Career Services web page, which we all share. Becky from our Dothan office, career office, is with us today too, and you'll see here on the left-hand menu that all of our campuses are contact information and just a little blurb about each campus you'll find here on the menu. But the thing that we're wanting to talk about today is, or right now, our career exploration. You'll see the different tiles here on our webpage. Each one goes into different information. But if you'll click on the career exploration tab, that will take you to what we're wanting to discuss now, and that is self-assessment. The focus self-assessment, it actually takes your interest, skills, and values and ties them into a major at Troy, and it'll also tie them into jobs that coincide with that major. It's more of a detailed assessment, so you'll really feel like that I think you'll get more out of that one anyway. It's more detailed. Career Coach is another, maybe a quick search. And do we still want to go in here? Do we have time? Okay, I can't hear you.
You're still muted.
It would help if I unmuted. Yes, let's do one real quick. Thank you, Donna. I apologize.
Okay, do we still want to go here? Okay.
Yeah, let's just do one real quick.
Okay, this is Career Coach, and this is the assessment here is not as in depth as Focus, but you can actually browse different careers and programs here to find out jobs that match those careers or majors. And I'll just type in government here. And then we'll scroll down and just kind of look at some of the different jobs that are associated with government jobs. And you can see salary ranges. And we know, as we talked about yesterday, we're not sure what part of the country all of these salary ranges are in, but maybe not Alabama, but anyway, that'll kind of give you an idea. Okay, then we'll go back and hopefully we'll go back where we want to. Maybe not.
All right. No worries.
Okay, let me just go to click on the tab. Okay. All right, here we go. Then we'll scroll down, and if you scroll down to the bottom of the web page, you'll see these are some very valuable websites. ONET is a place where you can search jobs, job descriptions. It'll tell you anything and everything you ever wanted to know about a particular position. Continuing education, salary ranges, the technical things that you would need to know. It's really a detailed job description if you need a job description or to figure out what type of job you would like to have within a major. The Bureau of Labor Statistics can even give you job openings within different parts of the country. So that's really a good one to explore.
Perfect. So there are some great resources there to take advantage of. And again, all of these are already kind of linked into the graduate roadmap or blueprint. So you'll be able to just click and get right there. All right. And I'm going to share my screen so you can see the blueprint again. We'll get to step 2. All right. I'm assuming you can see the blueprint again. If you cannot, you will, of course, holler at me and let me know. So step 1 was defining that target, right? Set your career goal a little more specifically, so you can narrow in on what you want to do. Step 2 is the resume. And most of all of you are already familiar with this critical building block of your career planning. However, we had a whole team of folks curate the best tips for you that were out there. So 10 tips you haven't heard before, 6 tips for writing an effective resume, and they vetted dozens of sites and sometimes 50, 60 sites to find the best ones for you. So the action step for number 2 is to submit your resume to Career Services, to Donna, if you'd like, for input. And you can contact her or see which one it was. It might be Becky, actually, and then use their resume, their input to revise your resume. And again, this links you to all of the wonderful resources that Troy Career Services has on resume building. Let's go to step 3. Step 3 is really about the cover letter. So that is the other critical building block for your career planning. So you need a good cover letter. That's your first impression. Again, here are some curated resources we found for you. And Yan Jun, Dr. Zhao, has even put in a before and an after cover letter at the very end of this career blueprint. So you can see one that's good and one that's not so good. So you'll be able to go ahead and figure out why that is so. And again, all of these links, just want to show you real quick, will lead you over into the correct area for career resources. So you don't have to do the heavy lifting. We've already done that for you. Here's all their information about resumes and cover letters. For example, do you need a chronological or a functional, et cetera, et cetera. Dawn, is there anything you'd want to add to that before we go to the next step?
Just, you can use those, we'll call them templates, but examples to build your resume. Once you get your resume created, you're welcome to send it to Troy Online Career Services, and I'll be more than happy to give you detailed feedback.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Donna. All right, back to the roadmap, and we are on step, let's see. All right, going to make everybody dizzy. We're on step 4, which is references. References really do make a difference, and your careful selection of references, that could be a previous employer, it could be a colleague, it could be a faculty member. It should not be your aunt or a minister or somebody of that nature. So again, if you click into Career Services, they'll tell you more about who to choose and who not to choose. And we've curated some links here. What are your action steps? What's your homework for the summer? Well, we think identify 3 potential references and then contact those references when you're ready to begin a job search. Donna, what's your take on this?
Yes, I would definitely talk to, if you can't really think of anybody offhand because you don't have job experience, for mentors, you might ask maybe your faculty members or someone in Career Services to recommend an alumni that you might connect with, because they're always ready to help students, especially, Troy students. So that's one good way to find maybe someone that you could use as a reference, and maybe they could, spend some time talking with them and sharing some of your work with them. And that's one. Of course, your instructors also are good references.
Well, that's a brilliant idea, Donna. I've never actually thought about it. So if you don't have a ready-made reference, you can sort of cultivate or create one by getting to know a fellow alumni and kind of pitching your work to them. And it's genius. I like it. See, you guys can see why she's so good at this, right? All right, moving on to step 5 of the career blueprint, internships. Now, several of you out there are thinking, I can't do an internship. I have a full-time job. I have a little baby. Can we tell you that in the years and years that Donna and I have been here, we've seen hundreds of students that work full-time and have a very busy family life and obligations with either parents or children or just family, be able to successfully do an internship. It could be a virtual internship. It could be a work product that you're producing for an organization. And it may take a lot longer than one term to complete that internship, but it is absolutely possible. So don't go ahead and mark it off right without thinking about it, because internships are a powerful way to transition from the job that you have now to the job that you want to do. So for example, let's say that you are HR in a private sector organization, but your dream is really leading at-risk children for a school system. So you may need a different job to show those skills and just to get your foot in the door. And the internship is the way to do that. So don't dismiss it right off the bat just because of your schedule. Again, we have curated several great links for you, and all you'd have to do is click on a link. Your homework, your assignment for the summer is decide if you think you'd benefit from an internship. And again, it could be a virtual internship, especially now. Second piece of the homework is to ask your faculty advisor or your staff advisor, does your degree program have an internship opportunity or requirement? Can you get credit for the internship? And then go ahead and target a few agencies that you might like to intern with. Donna, I'm going to turn this over to you because you have a very secret, powerful tool, which will no longer be a secret, to help students find those internships. Take it away, Ms. Brown.
Okay, all right, let me share.
And I have to stop sharing. 1 second.
Okay.
I could, there we go. All right, I have stopped sharing. All yours.
Okay, all right. Okay, we're going to introduce you to Handshake today. Handshake, all Troy students are already have an account in Handshake, so you just use your single sign-on to log in to Handshake. Here, this is where you can find jobs, internships, campus events, virtual job fairs, which will be coming in the fall. We'll push that out to all students. But to find jobs or internships, you would just click on the jobs button. And then job search, that's one little trick I found. You have to push the job search button after jobs. And then if we want to find internships, click on internships. And then maybe you want to say the Atlanta area. And please pop up. There we go. Okay. And then you can see here the internships that pop up for you in the Atlanta area. And of course, you can do that by state, by city, but there's several listed here. Okay, and let me type in government here because I think that's what I did not do. Okay, there we go. Okay, this looks better. Here we go.
And Donna, if they're not finding the kinds of internships right off the bat, who can they contact for help kind of narrowing the search terms or trying different search parameters?
Okay, you can always contact Career Services and we can help you with that. We also send out announcements, Canvas announcements with internships that come into our office. So pay attention to those. They'll come right to your phone if you have your notifications set up to do so. Of course, you get an email too, but we also push them out through social media, the Career Services social media, Troy U Career, and then Troy U Online Career, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. So make sure you pay attention to those because we do that weekly. We push those out.
Perfect. And if anybody wants to stick around after the session and you have a specific interest, like you want computer science jobs in Birmingham, we can take a look. We'll prove to you this actually works for you. So feel free to stick around and hang out after the session. Wonderful. So that's step 5 of the 12. We're making some progress, right? Let's go ahead and go to step 6. So Donna, I will grab the screen from you if I can. One moment.
I forget to
and thank you. All right. I'm going to assume folks can see my screen, and if not, please yell. Let's see. So step 6, interview skills. Now more than ever is the time to perfect your interview skills, right? Why not already feel like you have mastery over that? So to eliminate some of the nervousness before you sit down for that first or second or third interview that you have. And Donna will talk about this in a second, but more and more of these interviews are happening through Skype or Teams or Google Hangout. So it's important to master these skills. So the action steps here is to contact your Career Services representative. It might be Rebecca or Donna or somebody else. And also to do a virtual mock interview. through Big Interview, which Donna will show you in a minute. The really nice thing about Big Interview is that it records your interview questions, and then you can choose to send it to your faculty advisor, for example, me, for some of you that are here today that are my advisees, or it could be to your career services partner like Donna Brown, but they can actually critique the interview that you've recorded. So Donna, I'm going to turn this over to you for some insights, and if you'd like to show them Big Interview, and also to share that audio, we will need to hit the share system sound before you start sharing your screen. All yours, Ms. Brown.
Okay, let me do this. Let me see. Yeah, make sure I include system audio. Okay. Okay, I'm still not good at this, but I'm getting there. Okay, Big Interview. Okay, many companies are turning to initial video interviewing. So Big Interview is a wonderful way to learn how to answer interview questions, but it's also a way to practice those video interviews. So it's kind of a double, good thing here. If you look at the home page, well, first of all, you'd log into Big Interview at troy.biginterview.com and then create an account. Then once you create an account, you'll land on the home page. The home page is full of information. There's a fast track video lessons that can, if you have an interview that's coming up soon, you might want to spend time here. It gives you a lot of good advice on interviewing, do's and don'ts. Mastery track, maybe you've just graduated and you're starting to interview and you have a little time to spend, then this is when you would spend time in the mastery track. It's definitely worth the time to do. We have, okay, if you scroll down, you can see all of the different types of tutorials here that you can spend time going through that gives some really good information and up-to-date information. But to actually start practicing your interview questions, you would just click on practice and then practice interviews. And here you're going to see that you can choose from industry standard questions, even government, veterans, admissions. But we're going to look at general, and I would recommend starting with general to begin with to get used to it. But I would also recommend starting with entry level. And just to give you an idea of some of the type questions, and this is just entry level, we'll just click on this one, continue to interview, and it's not, okay, well, I'll wait till continue, come on, catch up. It's not going to let me share my webcam twice, so, but yes, you would choose to allow to let it use your webcam, and then you can see yourself here where you can't see me, but and you would record yourself answering these questions, and then we'll just listen. Uh-oh. Please don't turn me off, okay? It's like, please don't. I just cut myself off, okay. But anyway, we'll listen.
Thanks for coming in. I have your resume here. Can you walk me through your background?
Okay, you can see that she has some pretty basic questions, and she has a really good personality, so it's probably a relatively easy interview. But if you wanted to, weren't sure how to answer the question, you can always click on tips, and it's going to give you some ideas about how to go about answering that question. And I recommend going through the questions, writing your answers down, and practicing them. So once you start videoing yourself, you already know what you're going to say, and it takes some of the pressure off. But let's go back to one of the little tougher interviewers, still in entry level, and this will kind of give you an idea of some things you might want to prepare for. Not that you're going to get into this, but it's a good thing to be over prepared. Miss Lindsay is a little tougher. Okay. All right, still it's not going to let me share my webcam here, but you would see yourself.
Tell me about a time your work was criticized. How did you handle it?
Ooh.
She gets a little tougher.
Tell me about a time your work was criticized. How did you handle it?
We'll listen to one more and then we'll quit.
Tell me about a time your work was criticized. How did you handle it?
Oh, I did the same one over. But anyway, still, if you need to answer, I think that's what I didn't do.
What's the last book you've read?
Ooh.
What's the least attractive aspect of this position?
Okay. So you can see she asked some tougher questions that you might want to spend a little time, thinking about before you're asked that question and kind of be prepared. But again, you can click on tips and it'll give you kind of an overview of, how you might approach that. So again, write your answers down, practice them, and, already have, so you're not caught off guard when you go into an interview. But once you get through videoing your answers to the questions, you would just click on My Videos. And of course, you may have, 10 or 12, but you can delete the ones you don't like. And then the ones you do like, you want to select. And of course, you can select all, but, and then the ones that you want someone to give you feedback, you'll want to hit the Share Now button. And then I'll just send these to Troy Online Career Services, which would come to me.
Whoops, you forgot the E, but that's okay.
I did, Troy Online. Yes, I did, sorry.
No worries.
Going from a big keyboard to a tiny laptop, so. Okay, you need to add email, because if you don't add email, then it will not send it. So make sure you click add email. Then once you have whomever you're going to send it to, you want to type a little message here, just letting them know that you would like for them to critique your answers or your videos and kind of give you some feedback. Type a little message there and then just click Share Now. So that video, those videos will come to me at Troy Online Career Services. And then I would have the ability to open those up and then to go through each of the questions and give you some detailed feedback on, what you might need to do a little better or pay a little attention to, or any nervous clicks that you might have had that you weren't really aware of. The other thing I can say is make sure you have a professional background. We're all working from home right now. We're all, taking classes at home, but make sure that your dog is not barking and mine's behind me on the couch. I'm hoping he doesn't. But or your cat doesn't walk across the back of your chair, and you have a professional background as you're doing your videos. You want to be conscious of that, and go ahead and dress professionally so that you are comfortable once you get into an interview situation. Already, you already know how tight your suit's going to feel when you sit down in that interview session. But if you have any questions about that, you can definitely email me at Troy Online Career, and I'll be more than happy to answer them for you.
Thanks so much, Donna. That is definitely one of the secret hidden gems in career services that we have, and I hope more students will start using that. So that was step 6. Get your interview game on, right? Get your skills ready. So let's take a look at step 7. And if you aren't seeing my screen, you could all yell at me and let me know. Step 7 is the informational interview. And you may be thinking, I know how to do this. It's the same as the last interview that you had in the last step. No, it is not. The informational interview is a completely different animal than a job interview. First of all, they're much shorter. They're 15, 20, 30 minutes, and the purpose is different. You're not trying to get a job. You want to learn more about that person's career path. So let's say you want to be a policy analyst for the state. You would try to find 3 folks who are doing that and ask if you could just have 15, 20 minutes of their time to say hello. It could be preferably through in-person or Skype, but it could be by phone if it has to be. And you're going to ask them questions such as, what professional associations do you belong to? What do you like your job? What was your career path? Tell me about your career path. And so that you don't have to create the questions from scratch, we've actually curated some for you in these links here. And this is one of the most powerful tools and the least utilized tools that I think our students should do and would love to see more of them do these informational interviews. So the homework challenge we're giving you over the summer is identify 5 target people to do these informational interviews with, which agencies or companies, and then find specific contacts in that agency that you can reach out and request an informational interview with. And here's something that's important to remember. When you're a student at Troy, you have the keys to the kingdom. Everybody wants to help you. People want to help students. They want to mentor you. They want to do informational interviews. They want to do provide internships. Once you graduate, those keys kind of evaporate because you're just another person on the job market. So take advantage of your student status to reach out. And these informational interviews actually really help boost your network, and they're a great way to find mentors and internships as well. Donna, do you have anything you'd like to add on informational interview before we go on to the next step?
Well, I think it's a really good way to find out if you are a fit for a particular company or even a particular job type within your major. You'll find out things about, how the things that they dress, the way they dress every day, maybe the vacation and things like, not necessarily vacation, but the way that they run the company, the hours of the day, the shifts and things like that, things that to figure out if that particular job fits in your lifestyle.
Absolutely. And so you may come back from that informational interview and say, wow, I really don't want to be a health inspector, or wow, I really don't want to work, or conversely, like, wow, I have to work for so-and-so's company. Is that what's, Donna, kind of where you're headed with that? Absolutely. So if you haven't done an informational interview, folks, that's one of your homework assignments for the summer. Let's move to step 8, which is mentors. All right, this is a very important step. So you really need a mentor to help you when you get stuck in your career and to find your jobs as well. Mentors are incredibly valuable. And I think that almost 80% of the jobs I've gotten, including this one at Troy, was because of a mentor, and a mentor assisting me, either guiding me towards that process or answering questions on how do I do this or that. Mentoring is something that needs to build organically. You can't just go ask somebody, will you mentor me? That's kind of like on a first date asking your dinner partner across the table, will you marry me or not? You're going to make them run away screaming. Mentors have to be developed organically. There has to be a synergy, and not everybody will be a fit to be your mentor. So in case you're wondering, well, how do I do that? We've curated some resources here, and I love this. Don't ever ask a stranger. Again, it's the first date principle, right? So I actually just met with my mentor last week. He and his wife invited me for virtual coffee. He's a coffee freak, and he and his wife showed me their kitchen and all their little coffee devices, and it was lovely. And I don't know where I would be without him. He's the process reengineering. He taught me how to fix broken processes, right? He's a genius at this stuff. And how did I meet him? He was actually one of the graduation speakers at the Troy University Atlanta site about a few years ago. And after that, I wrote to him and I said, wow, this is the most amazing thing. Would you have 15 minutes so I can learn more about how you learn so much about process reengineering? And that built what turned into a wonderful relationship. And he's a dear, dear friend. So that is kind of the way that you think about mentors. So if you decide you want and need a mentor, which trust me, everybody does, everybody, including people in a career, should have mentors at all times. Here are the 2 homework assignments. One is review the links above so you don't make a critical mistake like just asking somebody, and then identify 2 potential mentors at work or in your field. Remember, never ask them directly. Contact that potential mentor to set up either an informational interview or just a time to chat with them to ask questions about the field. Keep it short. These people are very, very busy. So 15, 20 minutes, and then if there's good synergy, you can do a follow-up in a couple of months. Donna, what would you add to that?
I think that maybe instructors that maybe you admire or maybe who have inspired you throughout your program are really good mentors, and they could even suggest people that you can connect with that might eventually become a mentor. Also, right back to Troy alumni. Troy alumni are more than happy, to help other Troy students because they've been there and they've gotten into their career field and they're more than happy to help. So talk to your instructors about, maybe alumni that they remember or know that are in different positions that you might be interested in. Career services, we're always involved with different alumni, and maybe we can connect you with someone that you can start a conversation with. Check your LinkedIn accounts or contacts. You may find someone there that you're interested in, and just start asking the questions and kind of build a relationship.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said that better. And again, do it while you're a student, because then once you're a student, when you're a student, you have the magic keys. Everybody wants to help and mentor a student. When you graduate, again, just kind of another person on the job market. So take advantage of your status. I hate to say that, but I'd rather be blunt and help everybody out. Step 9, networking. Networking. So it is really important to grow your career by networking, one of the top ways to do it is by attending a professional conference or an academic conference. For example, if you're getting a degree in human resources, then you would want to do SHRM. Usually these professional associations have meetings, they're regional meetings or national conferences. They're very inexpensive for students to join and a great networking opportunity. So the action steps are: ask your faculty or staff advisor to recommend a few professional associations and join one. Again, they're usually $20 or $30. Sign up for any job email list the association provides and ask your faculty advisor to recommend one and attend it. Also develop a 30-second elevator pitch. We have a link curated there so that you can get over your shyness and help introduce yourself effectively. And I'm going to out myself right now. Donna was laughing at me yesterday when I confessed this, but I'm actually an introvert. I get really nervous around people and I hate networking. Like just the thought of having to talk to strangers at a conference, I just want to hide under a table because I'm actually secretly shy, which is why you're seeing me overcompensate a little right now. But do this. Somebody gave me this really amazing advice once. Act as if. I'll say that again. Even if you're shy and you're an introvert, act as if. And after you've done it the first few times, it'll become not second nature, but it will become tolerable and bearable. I'm never going to be an extrovert, but at least I can now go to a conference and say hello to people and have a decent conversation. And again, along with mentors, networks is where I have gotten almost all my jobs as well. Applying for a job ad is like a needle in a haystack. Donna, let me flip this over to you. What are your thoughts on networking and your tips?
Okay, definitely attend events on campus, and I know a lot. I'm Troy Online, so I know a lot of you are not near a campus. But if you're in Georgia and you can travel over to the Dothan office, they have they have in-person events. Once we get back to normal, yes, any virtual events that you can attend. The Career Office in Troy is hosting employer recruitment sessions with different employers. We're pushing that out through Handshake, so if you can watch for those emails, and also social media, Canvas announcements will let you know when those employer sessions are. If you can attend those, then you can talk to other students. You can get to know employers. They'll give you their contact information. And as one employer said just blatantly, don't wait for us to call you, you call us. So if you have questions about that particular career field, call them and ask. And, how do I go about, how do I get started? What are the steps to get started? And they're more than happy to help you. I know it's like you say, it's fearful sometimes. It is for me too. But If you just take that extra step, you'll find out that there are more people willing to help you than you realize.
Well said. Thank you, Donna. So that is I've lost count. That was step 9. Now step 10 for the job search. So at this point, you have your building blocks, which is the resume and the cover letter. You've been working on your interview skills. You've maybe even done some informational interviews, and you've gotten all the puzzle pieces together. Now you're ready to start your job search. So we've curated a number of different job searches for you, including for our friends that want to do government jobs. We put you down here. And Troy has some wonderful tools that we'll show you in a minute. And for your homework, that would be working with your advisor, faculty, or staff to create a list of 5 to 7 job websites specific to your degree program. So if you're a computer science student and you've had the honor of having Dr. Zhao, because she's amazing, you could go to her and say, what job sites would you recommend that I look for computer sciences? And she will definitely hook you up. And then again, start your job search early, please. Don't wait until you have the degree. It's actually in reverse. You have to do it. You have to get everything set up before you graduate, if you can. Although if some of you are graduating now, it is never too late to start now. Donna, I'm going to turn this over to you and let you screen share and show us some of the tools that Troy has.
Okay, we're going to go back, I guess, and we're going
Let me
to
stop sharing.
Handshake.
Sorry.
Okay. Let me go. Oh, where'd Handshake go? Okay. Okay, and then we're looking at Handshake again, back in job search, and you would just put in full-time or part-time. You might type in, let's just say computer science. And let's choose maybe a different, I think, gosh, Birmingham maybe. Yeah, I thought it would pop up. What happened?
Well, Birmingham, England could be quite exciting, Donna. I don't know if our students want to go that far. If Kelsey's here today, I think that's where
Okay,
she
here we
is.
go. Let's try something a little closer. But anyway, then you'll see there's a multitude of jobs that pop up here, and you can actually click on those jobs and look at the employer description, maybe and even the description of that job. Let's see what comes up here. See, you can see the job description, which will help you tailor your resume to that job, the qualifications, all of the information that you can use to write your resume. So there's a lot of valuable information in Handshake, and then of course you can also, connect with Career Services for us, and we'll be glad to help you create that resume. We also, again, send out job announcements as well as internship announcements through Canvas, and also post them through our social media outlets at Troy U Career and Troy U Online Career.
Oh, and Donna, I believe that the Troy Career Services also now has a virtual employer session almost every week, right? Can you talk about that for a minute?
Right. We host employer virtual sessions each week through Zoom, and we advertise those through Canvas announcements and also social media. We push out emails through Handshake up to the majors that coincide with that particular employer. So watch for those employer session emails through Handshake. There's a Zoom link associated with that employer, and you'll find those on events. Actually, we can look at them. I didn't think about that. I can show you that.
Perfect.
Yes, here are the events now, and let's see if I can quickly find one that we have coming up. Yes, U.S. Department of Labor. This is the one we have on June the 2nd at 1. And then you can actually just click on, which of course it won't open now, but you'll click on that Zoom link and it'll take you right into the session. Of course, that will be a Zoom session at that point in time. But if you can join us on June the 2nd, we would love to have you, and it'll that way you'll have a feel for these virtual events.
Perfect. Thank you, Donna. So Handshake is a really valuable tool for both career searches and internships. And sometimes employers will specifically contact Donna and Rebecca and everybody else with jobs because they want Troy students to apply. So that's where those jobs get listed in Handshake. It's not just this nationwide database. I mean, it does have all the job openings that are available, but it also has some specifically that the employers wanted to hire Troy folks. So this is a really good starting place. Would you say, Donna?
Yes, the employers from around the Southeast participate in Handshake. In Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee. So ones that are close in our area that our students typically live in, and also across the United States.
Perfect. Thank you, Donna. So step 11 is social media. And in essence, you'll want to utilize that social media to help develop your career brand or your personal brand. There's LinkedIn, of course, and Twitter and all that sort of thing. The action steps are Google yourself to check out your social media profile. Make sure there are no pool pictures. It shouldn't be there. And do remember that once something's online, it stays online. And employers do check. Donna will talk about that in a moment. And go ahead and set up or update a professional LinkedIn account using the tips that we've curated for you here. Donna, you're the expert, so I'm going to mute myself and let you talk.
Well, I definitely set up a LinkedIn account. Definitely keep it updated. Definitely connect with other employers as much as possible. You'll meet people that you can connect with and ask questions, and the more that you talk to people and get to know people, then they will recommend you for an interview. That's really a wonderful way to get started. Definitely the employer sessions that we do each week, anything like that you can plug into, you'll want to do that, but also add that to your social media. Once you've participated in any conferences or employer sessions, those are the kind of things you want to put on your Facebook account, your Instagram, to build that professional portfolio.
Great. That's a really good point, Donna. If you are doing something that you want them to know, push it out. So you have to be proactive as well as checking what's on there already. Good stuff. And now we're on to, wait for it, drum roll, step 12. And now we're going to talk a little bit about e-portfolios. I'm going to move this picture up here. So some of you may have heard of these and some of you may not have. E-portfolios are almost like a digital resume on the web that contain your resume, of course, and key samples of your school and work products. Think of it as a portfolio that has different layers of detail on it so they can actually go in and explore your work a little bit more. We'll show you a sample in one moment. And you can use some free software such as WordPress and Weebly and Folio Spaces for that. Things to include in your ePortfolio, again, evidence of your skills. So if you did a grant for the grant writing class, or if you developed an HR plan for your HR class, that's the kind of thing you want to include because resumes, employers can see what you did. So your homework for this summer is to find out if your degree program encourages or requires portfolios and if they provide access to a specific software. And if you want to have a competitive edge over other applicants, consider creating an e-portfolio. It does involve some elbow grease, folks. But if you just want to stand out from the rest of the crowd, you can go ahead and consider building one. We're going to show you one here today. We're going to show you a computer science one that we've curated for you. And you can see that, let me move this again. I'm going to go ahead and minimize that. Pardon me. She has put up her resume, her portfolio. She's a computer science student, and she's listed all her courses. So an employer could say, oh, wait, she's taken blah, blah, blah. She talks about her community involvement just to give them a sense of who she is. And she already seems delightful. What scholarships and awards has she won? Here she's showing her database concepts projects, right? So they can click here and see the project. An employer might say, wow, I really need somebody with Linux or Linux? Linux skills. Yeah, and June can yell at me later for saying that wrong. So here's all the cool stuff she did, right? So you can see how if you walk into an interview with this, or you provide this in advance to your prospective employer, it's something that they could go through and look at. Donna, do you want to talk about this for a minute more? Let me go back to
the e-portfolio could show initiative, going above and beyond. And also, if you get into the virtual interview situation, it's a really good way to share, maybe share those documents or projects that you've been involved in that you couldn't just hand them the documents to look at. It's a really good way to share that. And I feel like we'll be going in more of that direction in the future. So it probably is a really good idea to go ahead and build that portfolio.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me in 5 to 7 years to see a lot more employers requesting it, and the students that get ahead of that curve are going to have a leg up for sure. Absolutely. So we've covered the 12 steps, shockingly. We were worried that if we'd had enough time. So now we want to hear from you. You could either unmute and ask a question, or you can type a question in the chat box. And to get to the chat box, you'd wiggle the mouse to the trackpad. And on that magic ribbon, it's the little thing that looks like a cartoon character. So, and Dr. Velarde will feed us your questions if we've missed any so far. So what questions do you have for Ms. Brown? Because you have the expert here, so ask them now. We stunned them into silence, Donna. I'm not sure that's good or bad.
Well, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to email me at troyonlinecareer@troy.edu. I'm more than happy to set up a personal Zoom session with you if you have questions, because a lot of people don't like to discuss that with everyone. So a little bit more personal session might be in order.
Question.
I have a question.
Tamisha, go for it.
Yes, my question was, I don't know if she can answer it or not, but okay, like I worked for the state for like 13 years. If I was trying to work for federal government, do you happen to know like if the years transfer like over, or I can't seem to get anybody to answer that question for me. I've even contacted like USA Jobs and try to get them to answer, and I can't get anything.
No, I'm more, if you have transferable skills, like you're changing from one career to a different career, I can help you use the skills that you've learned throughout those 13 years and transfer them over into a different career. But now Leora might have some information about that. Do you happen to know?
I don't, but Tamisha, I have some friends I could ask. Remember we talked about networks?
Okay,
I have a bunch.
okay.
I have a really good friend at the Department of Labor who used to actually do and have its own international HR company. So if you'll connect with me, I'm lwaldner@troy.edu. I'll find out for you. My guess would be, and maybe Dr. McDaniel knows offhand, that the state level service would not transfer and count for federal government. Dina, I see you here lurking. Do you happen to know? I caught you, girl.
I was trying to be incognito.
No, you didn't work. Just stand out
No,
wherever you want.
I really don't, but I do not think so.
I don't think
And
so.
that's not a really good answer, but yeah, state is different from federal, so it's gonna, you're probably not gonna be able to transfer it.
But email me and I'll confirm that. Okay, I know who to ask.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, awesome. Other questions?
Erica asked, how far back should you build a resume?
Ooh, okay. Students fresh out of college, you know, one page, maybe the past couple of years. You don't really want to go past 10 years. And then also you want to choose the jobs that are more relevant to the job that you're applying for. You know, you don't really want to skip times because that makes it, you know, look shady when you do that. But definitely try not to go all the way back to your high school, maybe Chick-fil-A job or whatever. You know, those are not as important or relevant maybe to the type job that you're applying for at this point.
I have a question.
Okay.
So, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So, I'm active duty right now. I'm about to get out, go back to school. I have my associates already, so I'm looking at like probably 2, maybe 3 years tops to get my computer science degree. So what I'm doing for the military is not at all related to computer science. At what point in time do you think I should stop school full time and start looking at internships and stuff like that? Because like right now, I don't have any relevant skills.
Well, I know this is harder than it sounds, believe me, because I'm not in the military, but some of the information that we do give to military students are, if it is possible for you to kind of transition your job type or MOS or whatever into something along that lines, or maybe something that you could kind of use computer science skills in, you know, that's a great way to transition because you'll already have that job experience. And then also, if you have the time, and I don't know if you're moving around a lot, but if you can volunteer at some companies in your area and I know that, you know, the information, the sensitivity of the information and all of that sometimes gets in the way. But if you can volunteer with some companies to gain a little bit of experience, that will also help you.
Let me rephrase the question. So, like how far along, like through my degree, at like what point should I start looking for that kind
I
of
would
work?
say junior status.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And I would add, in the past, I've attended some webinars like from deployed to employed, and they talk about how to transition MOS and other very specialized skills to civilian terms that civilian employers understand. And I'm sure we could dig up some resources on that. And then, of course, Troy for Troop Center, they may have some additional resources as well. So we'll help walk that journey with you if you'd like us to. But there is some guidance out there on the internet for doing that, and you know, we're happy to try to help you find that. So,
Thanks.
Of course.
The Troy for Troops Center, also at Troy University, is really great at helping that transition also.
Let me see if I can grab their link and put it in the chat box. 1 second. Yeah, they're amazing. They do some fantastic things.
While you're thinking about that, Erica asked, should you have multiple resumes for different skill sets or just list them on one general resume?
No, always.
She's had 3 different careers in 30 years. So.
Okay, what you would want to do is, if you know the job that you're going to apply for, if you can find the job description, if it's possible to do that, then you'll want to, I tell students to get a highlighter and highlight the things within that job description that you have experience in. Then the experience you have throughout those years, you can look back through there probably and find different skills that match, and highlight those. Use a summary of qualifications, and I have, you know, 5+ years of social media, or web design. That's just things that are popping up in my mind. But anything like that that you may have done throughout the years that aren't really, that you might have done in different jobs. But you create that, pull out those bullets and create a summary of qualifications that match that job description. In other words, use those skills you've gained throughout the years and put them in your summary of qualifications. Does that help or confuse?
I think it helps. She said that she's got it.
Okay.
Samantha asked, as someone who's struggled with work since as someone who's struggled with acquiring work experience since graduating in 2017 with a bachelor's, what is one way to gain said experience when everybody wants experience entry-level candidates? It's almost like a catch-22.
Right. Volunteer work. If you can possibly find ways to volunteer, you're going to meet people through that volunteer. Is that you're going to gain that experience from volunteering. You're also going to make connections and start your networking. Networking is key. You can, in other words, they're going to see your work ethic, your character, and they're going to be the people that will refer you for interviews and help you get hired.
Yeah, and I would add to that, volunteer smart and volunteer strategically. So if you got your undergrad in HR, don't just go volunteer for the softball team, but find a nonprofit and say, would you like me to review your HR plan? So something that you can put on your resume and maybe even get on their board of directors at some point, but start small and offer to do something for them. And of course, the internship is key. And even if it's a virtual internship or internship that you have to do with like a 911 center that could be, spread out over time, or an internship where you develop a product or a study for someone, it allows you to highlight your skills and say, hey, these are the kind of products I've developed through this volunteer work or through the internship. And that way you can build that resume over time. I think that, so smart volunteering, strategic volunteering, internships, I think are two of the top ways. And also, don't lose sight of the skills that you gained in your classes. So if you have done specific work products that will be attractive to employers, put those on your resume and use that as your experience. For example, in my class, my strategic planning class, the students just in term 4, they finished up doing a strategic plan for several organizations. They did one for CDC, for Boys and Girls, Big Brothers and Big Sisters of America. And so they can now put that on their resume as a work product and provide that as experience and say, look, I've actually done one of these things. So you cycle back to that as well. Donna, is that going too far? Or?
No, that's perfect.
Samantha, did that answer your question a little bit?
She said thank you, so I'm guessing it did.
Good. And Samantha, connect with your faculty and staff advisor as well, because they're going to have, if they see that you have the initiative and that you want to get more on your resume, they'll start considering you for things like, oh, we just heard about this opportunity here. And Samantha Lay, she got in touch with me last week. So Dr. McDaniel can confirm this. We remember students that reach out to us and ask for those kind of opportunities. And we kind of put them to the forefront of our minds for that kind of stuff. So those who want to be heard should be heard, if that makes any sense. Other questions, thoughts? Okay, we are now approaching our end time, so we will stop the recording. However, before we stop the recording, we got to do a couple things. One, Dr. Velarde is going to push out a feedback survey. So if you guys could just take a minute or two and give us some feedback to let us know how you like the session and what we should do differently next time. Also, I want to put in a plug for a very special session we're hosting next Wednesday in partnership with the Troy Career Services. Doretta Rhodes Cole, who is the senior HR manager for the Atlanta Braves, is coming to tell you how to land your dream job. So Isaiah, Samantha, Erica, we want y'all back so we can see you again. Same bat cave, same bat time. So use the same link you used today. All right, so good. Thank you. Robert has pushed out the survey. So if you'll click on that, the survey only takes a minute to complete to give us some feedback. So join us next week if you can. And the week after that is going to be about the Global Leadership Program for those that are interested in that. And this series, just to give you a little history, was started when COVID hit. In February, We've been running it every week faithfully, and we started as a way just to connect with the College of Arts and Science students to see if they were okay, right? Because we knew they were being shoved online. We knew some were having issues because of COVID. So we really kind of tried to respect and honor that series. So anybody who wants to stay afterwards and just chat and let us know what's on their minds, you are warmly welcome to do that. I want to take a minute and thank Donna Brown because she's amazing, right, guys? Thank you, Donna. And to thank Dr. Zhao again and everybody else who contributed. We're going to stop the recording, but stick around. I have all night. Stick around as long as you want. Thanks for coming, y'all.
Thank you.
The recording is going to stop. Stop recording. Very good. Okay, say whatever you want. Your mamas and babies won't see this anymore.
Okay.